So once again, this will be our topic for today. That is security concepts. No? So this will be at the end of the session. The students are expected to recognize data threats, understand the value of information, understand personal security, understand the term social engineering, enable or disable macro security, applying file security, and understand the advantage and limitation of encryptions. Now, maintaining IT security in daily life is a vital online skills to ensure professional, personal, and financial security. Knowing best practices with regards to managing data, who you disclose personal information to, and browsing securely will help you stay safe online. Actually, there are some examination intended for information security. The IT security discussion will help you understand the primary concepts underlying the secure use of IT in daily life. So, and to use relevant techniques and application to maintain a secure network connections, use the internet safely and securely, and manage data information appropriately. Okay. So, okay. So, maintaining data security is a vital for individuals, small businesses, and large corporations. Ensuring that data is kept secure is essential in avoiding disasters, both personal and professionally. But unfortunately, it can be a difficult task due to malicious or unintentional behavior. So this will be the following. The following are some of the common terms related to data threats. No? So I think that everybody are familiar with the words data. So when we say data, that is a collection of facts, figures, and statistics related to an object. Because data can be processed to create useful information. Data is raw and unorganized facts and figures. Okay, it's just a sort of review of your first year, during your first year. No? Then, how about the information? Information is a data that is organized in process to give it more meaning and context. So while data is like pieces of a puzzle, information is like completed puzzle that shows a final picture to the user. So how about cybercrime? So when we say cybercrime, it is an offense that involves using the internet or a computer to carry out illegal activities, open for financial or personal gain. So example include identity theft and social engineering. Now, maybe somebody asking the difference between hacking and cracking and ethical hacking. Now, when we say hacking, it involves using computer expertise to gain access to a computer system without authorization. That is hacking. The hacker may wish to tamper with programs and data on the computer, use the computer's resources, or just provide they can access or just prove they can access the computer. And that is hacking. On the other hand, when we say cracking, this will be the process of attempting to guess or crack passwords to gain access to a computer system or network. While ethical hacking is to attack security system on behalf of its owner, seeking vulnerabilities that a malicious hacker could exploit. To test a security system, ethical hackers use the same methods as their less principled counterparts, but report problems instead of taking advantage of them. Again, an ethical hacker, no, use the same methods as hacker, no, as their less principled counterparts, but they report problems instead of taking advantage of them. This will be the ethical hacking. Okay? Now, what about the key threats to data security? Number one, of course, system crashes and hard disk crashes. No? A system or hard disk crash may cause physical damage to the storage media. Another thing, computer viruses which may delete or corrupt files. Or faulty disk and disk drives. Physical damage to this such as bad sectors. Maybe you are familiar with that. Data loss by accidentally deleting or overwriting files. Sometimes we could encounter this situation. No? We could lose the data accidentally, no, and deleting and overwriting some files sometimes, no, or deletion by unauthorized users or hackers, or destroyed by natural disasters such as floods, fire, in earthquakes, no, or of course in other country, no, acts of terrorism or war, or accidental or malicious deletion by employees. So it depends. Now, how about the value of information? There are some reasons for protecting personal information. And of course, each and every one of us are always requiring ourselves, no, to secure our personal information. Okay? Nowadays, more and more people are using the internet and mobile devices for online shopping. Andiyan si Shopee, andiyan si Lazada, and so on. Even for banking, no, business, communication, and other activities. And such company rely on various cloud services and other web-based services to run their day-to-day business. No, so making information easier to access through the internet also exposes businesses to some security issues because hackers are able to take advantage of vulnerabilities in the transmission of data online to gain unauthorized access to systems and networks. There have been many reports of data breaches and identify theft in the past few years, no? Because cyber criminals often steal personal information such as banking records, credit card details, users' names and passwords for financial gain. No? Now, personal information is most often, no, used by companies to identify and authorize users who transact business on their website. So, for example, an online shopping site may have a record of a user's name, of course, address, what else? Credit card details, and others. So, hackers may steal this information in order to impersonate a user and then conduct fraudulent and unauthorized transactions and other fraudulent activities. So, without adequate security and protection of personal information, users are exposed to internet-based crimes such as identity theft and fraud and loss of privacy. So, companies which do not protect their users' personal information may lose customers' trust and, of course, their business. Okay? Now, reasons for protecting commercially sensitive information. We need to accept the fact that commercially sensitive information is any information owned by a company that could cause harm if it is lost, misused, stolen, or altered in any way. So, the following examples of information that may be classified as being commercially sensitive are, number one, of course, the financial statements, such as balance sheet, cash flow, income statement, or equity statement. Information such as list of current and past clients. Trade secrets, of course, such as design, formulas, production processes, and others. And information about new products, no? Marketing strategies or patent information. For the commercially sensitive information, of course, it must be protected to prevent, no? Theft of private and confidential company information. No? Company information could be stolen by corporate spies, no? Or social engineering or hacking. So the data may be passed on to the company's competitors to the disadvantage of the owner of the information. Accidental loss of data. So users may mistakenly delete or alter sensitive data because storage media or mobile devices containing sensitive information could be misplaced. No? Fraudulent use of company data such as client information and financial information. Now, okay, how about measures for preventing unauthorized access to data? It is always advised, no? Use a good password. Because the most common way to protect your computer's data is to set up user accounts with usernames and passwords. Anyone not having a username or not knowing the correct password will be denied access, right? So for this to be effective, password chosen must not be easy to guess. No? Password should be a random combination of lowercase letters, uppercase letters, and numbers, and symbols if this is allowed. Because some computer systems replace the typing of username and password with other forms of user identification such as ID cards, fingerprint readers, or voice print recognition, or face recognition at the same time. Now, another one is the encrypt data. Again, no, encryption is the process of using a cipher to make information unreadable to anyone who does not have the key to the cipher or cipher. And this is technique that allows you to prevent unauthorized access to data. Okay? How about the basic characteristic of information security? Information security means protecting informations and information system from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruptions, modifications, perusal, inspection, recording, or distraction. So the goals are protecting the confidentiality, of course, integrity, and availability of information, which is too important. So when we say confidentiality, we prevent the disclosure of information to unauthorized individuals or systems. When we say integrity, of course, data cannot be modified undetectably. Integrity is violated when data is actively modified in transit. When we say availability, for any information system to serve its purpose, the information must be available when it is needed, pero it must be secured. Okay? Now, how about the data privacy or protection control? With the widespread use of the internet to perform various types of business and personal transaction, there is a need for measure to ensure that the privacy and security of the data being used by organizations. Now, again, as I mentioned a while ago, we have a Data Privacy Act of 2012. No? Laws and guidelines have been crafted to ensure data and information is not abused and used for any unlawful practices. So, data protection legislation usually provide for the protection of individual against the unlawful use of a person's personal data and violation of their privacy. So, data protection legislation is, however, likely to vary between countries. Okay? So in general, data protection, again, personal data is processed in fair and lawful manner. No? Good practice, no, is always used to process personal data. The collection of personal data can only be for legitimate and explicitly stated purposes. Personal data shall not be processed if it is not compatible with the purpose for which the information is collected. This is referred to as the proportionality. No? Process data or process personal data is both adequate and relevant. And there will be no unnecessary processing of personal data because personal data that is processed is accurate and it must be up to date. Then personal data is not kept for a period longer than is necessary. Okay, so it depends upon to the rules and guidelines of another agency on how many years we will keep a record or the personal data of our clients or even the students. Now, so what will be the guidelines in policies for ICT use? Of course, no, many organizations, including private companies, public organizations, in educational institutions have guidelines and policies regarding how people should use the organization's ICT systems. Okay? So these guidelines and policies provide a standard for users to follow and ensure that there is a clear position on how ICT should be used to ensure the protection of the organization's data. And of course, in many organizations, following these policies is a requirement. And all those policies are posted in their own website, most commonly. Now, how about personal security? And that is a social engineering. We are all familiar with software engineering, but how about the social engineering? When we say social engineering, it is a way to manipulate or influence people with the goal to illegally obtain sensitive data. So for example, again, password or credit card information. Social engineers research and learn about the personal environment of their target and fake their identity to obtain confidential information from the victim. So in most cases, they infiltrate third-party computer system to spy on a sensitive data. Okay? So how do they do that? Okay? So through information gathering, fraud, computer system access, and an implication of a social engineering. Now, what are the methods of social engineering? Number one, of course, phone calls. No? One of the most common methods social engineers use in their attack is conducted via the phone. No? The attacker may impersonate a person of authority, a person representing a person of authority, or a service provider to extract information from an unsuspecting user. For example, a person claiming to be the CEO of the company calls someone on the help desk requesting for his password, which he claims to have forgotten. Now, it's just saying, "Oy, I forgot, I am your boss. I am Dr. Marmelo Abante. I am the CEO of the company. I'll forget the password of my computers or my online account. No? So, will you please send me the password," and so on. But sometimes, as I mentioned, they are pretending someone. No? Another is phishing. Okay? A type of social engineering attack wherein the perpetrator sends an email that appears to come from a legitimate source. For example, a bank. No? The email usually requests for verification of information, sometimes warning of dire consequences if the recipient fails to comply. So a phishing email usually includes links to fraudulent web pages which are made to look very similar to legitimate web pages, including logos and contents. So for example, if you have a BPI account, no? Somebody from the phishing people or the social engineer, no, sending you a message. So you are requesting to click a link and supply the necessary requirements. Same website, same logo, same, everything is the same, no? But it's just only a phishing, no? Another is shoulder surfing. Shoulder surfing includes direct observation techniques, no? Such as looking over someone's shoulders to get information. So it commonly used to obtain passwords, ATM pins, and security codes. I don't know if you are already aware with the ATM, no? So they indicated another keyboard, no, in the ATM machine. Then they could able to get the password of the said ATM, no, the informations. And that is a methods of a social engineering. Now, identify or theft and its implication. Now, identity theft is when someone deliberately impersonates and uses another person's identity. And this is usually done for financial gain or to obtain credit and or other benefits using someone else's name. So, for example, when someone uses another person's identity to obtain a driver's license, and this type of fraud could have a devastating effect on the persons whose identity has been assumed. An initial implication of identity theft is the amount of time and money needed to reestablish your identity and credit history and to clear your name. No? So this will be the sample, no? So per personal, we have it can be devastating, causing emotional distress, anxiety, and even triggering depression. For business, particularly in credit and financial fields, also suffer financial losses. No, a business can suffer from lost time and productivity when the victim is an employee. For financial histories and credit records can suffer from identity theft, leading to the loss of misuse of one or more existing accounts. And for legal, reestablishing a legal identity, including personal details, no, passport and tax records. Okay, now methods of identity theft. No, so how about what is information diving? No, actually that is also known as dumpster diving. So it is the method of obtaining personal or private information by digging, no, through a dumpster or trash bin for discarded documents or materials such as utility bills or credit card statements. No, when we say skimming, no, identity thefts use skimming as method of capturing a victim's personal data by using a small electronic device. So a skimmer is a device that is usually attached to an ATM machine's card slot, as I mentioned earlier. So a victim may unwittingly slide his card in the skimmer, which then reads and stores all the information from the card's magnetic strip. So it happens already in the Philippines now, the skimming. Okay. Then another is pretexting. Okay. This involved creating and using an invented scenario, no, to engage a targeted victim. The pretext increases the chance the victim will reveal information or perform actions that would be unlikely in other circumstances. So, for example, someone, no, maybe pretending to be from the company that provides you with a service, might persuade you to share your bank account details with them, and that is pretexting. Okay, now The next will be the file security. O enabling, disabling macro security settings. Actually, I hope that all of you are familiar on how you'll be able to enable and disable your macro security settings in Microsoft Excel. Hopefully, no? Macros are used to automate repetitive or frequently used tasks in Microsoft Office applications. A macro can be created by using the macro recorded features or written by software developers using, of course, Visual Basic for applications. A person with malicious intent could potentially create destructive macros which can spread viruses. Therefore, macros are a potential security threat. Users can disable macros, automatically enable them only when they trust that source of the file. Because the macro security settings can be found in the trust center. In some organizations, these settings are disabled by default and cannot be changed without authorization from system administrator. Okay? So this will be your one of assignment. No? You are going to record a video record on how you'll be able to set a macro security settings in Microsoft Excel, either 2013, 2016, 2019. It's up to you. No, you just simply demonstrate that it also video recorded on how you'll be able to set a macro, no, security in Microsoft Excel. Setting file password. You can set protect your files by using a password. Again, in Microsoft Office, for example, you can use password to help prevent other people from opening and modifying your documents in a spreadsheet. Everybody knows how to secure your documents in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint? Class, do you know how to secure your files? Do you know how to save your files with password?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Okay. What about the... Oh, sorry. Advantages and limitation of encryption. Okay. So, the single most important reason for using encryption is to preserve confidentiality, right? So the advantages of an encryption is to ensure that private and confidential data can only be viewed by the intended recipient. So this ensures that only those authorized to see the information will be able to view it. No? Encryption of data or data integrity and prevents any authorized alteration of your data. No? Encryption allows you to verify if the author of the document is or isn't who say they are. Okay? How about the limitation? This will be the last. If you forget your password, then you may not be able to recover your data. Some forms of encryption only offer nominal protection and can be broken easily with the right program. For example, an older zip archive or Word documents. So the very existence of encrypted files attract suspicious as to what it is you are trying to protect. Whereas a non-encrypted file would not attract the same level of interest. And it cannot prevent deletion of data. And that's it for today. So this will be your assignment. Don't worry, I will send to you the PowerPoint presentation. No? So discuss the pros and cons of encryption. Create a video presentation on how to set file password. Create a video presentation on how to set macro security settings. Then try this one. So how you'll be able to know if how secure your password is. Okay? Then this will be the references. Do you have any questions, clarifications?